If you went back and watched a NASCAR race from the glory days of the late 1980s, Lake Speed is a name that you would see. Lake was a regular in the Winston Cup series for over 20 years. Prior to that, he was a world champion go-kart racer. In 1986, he built a shop in his backyard and started his own race team. As you've seen on this channel before, we showed you his entire race shop. That's still in his backyard, where he has 2 cars left and 2 engines. They have not been touched in 20 years. He made us a deal. He said, you know what, you take that engine, get it freshened up, make it make some more power, put it back in the car and I'll drive it again. And he's 75 years old. So we took it over to Dennis Borum at Pro Motor Engines. Dennis has been building NASCAR engines for over 30 years. Over the last several months, we have been all over the country documenting, sourcing, and explaining the parts that we've used to freshen this 20-year-old engine time capsule of NASCAR technology up to some more modern stuff without changing the bones of the engine. It's still the same block, the same heads, the same crankshaft, the same rods. It has new pistons with a modern design, a new camshaft with modern design, and a very specific cylinder wall hone and ring package of modern specs. We're here to blend nostalgia with technology and get a legendary racing driver back in the seat of one of his favorite race cars. Today is the day.
Today's the day.
Finally the day. And we have both Lakes here. What was the most power you ever saw on your engine dyno that was in a car that you raced?
About 735.
Really?
Yeah.
Whenever you were milling, how much power were those cars making?
You'll have to tell me. I don't know.
They're about that.
So this could be the most powerful car that you've had in a cup chassis on a road course.
Yeah. It'd be nice to be running against some of the stuff that we were running against.
Well, if you go back to VIR with this thing, it would be a lot more power than you had last time. Remember the last time you were there with Dale Phelan? And
I was out on the straightaway off the oak tree turn. I'm out there hitting second gear, looking in the rearview mirror, and I see him come around the corner, and he went by me before I got down the straightaway, just like a rocket. I went, forget this.
in October 2002, it made 690 on its best run.
That was a real number.
That was a real number, made 690 in 2002.
So we still don't know why it was so low on our first.
Well, I was 480 last time. I have no idea.
We still don't know. But that's the great mystery. We never figured that out.
No. There was no.
I think it got hot. I can remember nursing the thing to the end of the race just to make sure it finished, because I had a pretty good sized lead, so I could just slow down.
Same block, same heads, same manifold, new valve train, same rods. You found out the rods are older than both Jackson and Benjamin, 2 of my kids. Brand new pistons, new ring package and all that. So we'll let them do all their normal stuff. Then we're gonna have some fun, and we'll put on this, we'll put in the Q16, and put in the 016 oil. That'll give us a really go for it. Yeah.
So there's gonna be 2 phases to this.
Oh yeah. It's like, okay, what does she do? Call it the normal way. Then we'll pull in all the fun stuff.
So this block looks a lot different than the last time we saw it. Can you explain what you guys were doing in here while we were flying all over the place making videos about all the parts that are going in it?
We updated the valve train, the lifters. We checked the line honed it. Then it went over to the CNC shop over here, and we machined it for the keyed sleeves.
So can you explain to people what the benefit is of a key lifter versus a link bar?
Without saying it's better, it's a lot better. You're guided off that lug, basically right here. See the lug? So there's a slot in the lifter bore that guides it. So you get rid of the bar. There's a bar that connects. Most people know it goes to the other lifter. There's just a lot more stability here. Durability is better. It has a bigger wheel. It just gives you a lot of different options on a bigger cam, and to go the direction we want, where that wheel is probably 785 thousandths. This wheel is 850. And then comp cams, designed a cam.
If anybody watching this should have seen that video already.
Yeah.
If they didn't, all the specs are in here.
That's right.
We have a video about the pistons, about the rods, the camshaft, the cylinder hone. First thing I noticed is how much smaller in diameter these springs are. The old ones, they looked like some big block springs. They were huge.
That would be a modern valve spring that we run in NASCAR and road racing. There'll be a lot more stability in the valve train. Our compression is probably 4 points higher than it was before.
Just 4.
Yeah, that's right.
Was it 13 to 1 now?
Close.
Close to 13? Ooh, that's gonna be fun.
This is the pan that was on this engine. I never looked at this pan until about a week ago when we were getting ready to mock things up, and I noticed it's like, hey, this thing's got sprayers in it. Looked back on the cart, looked at the block. There were no lines on the cart. There was no provisions on the block for oiling. So this pan at some point was put on this engine, and it was from somebody else's, because the Cup teams were just starting to put oilers on in the 90s. We basically ran the lines back inside the pan. This is the supply. It'll come through here inside of it. We supply oil to that manifold right there, and it crosses over and supplies it to this one. This engine did not have sprayers hooked up. That's actually a positive, because it's, you know, we pretty much have sprayers in everything we build now, or we try to. So, and then also we added a pickup for road racing. When you make right-hand turns, it was only set up for left-hand turns.
Huh.
So if this was run on a road course, it was destined to have a problem if
Interesting.
you had enough right-hand corners. So, because what'll happen is you'll fill this pan up on the right-handers and not get enough back in the tank, you will lose oil pressure at some point.
Surprised it wasn't like that already with what he was doing with it.
Well, he bought a motor probably at an auction, or he had it, and it was set up for oval track. We inherit a lot of business that way. People buy an engine, put it in a car, and run it in a different platform, and it blows up. It was built just fine. It was just used in the wrong application without the update.
What did you do to the manifold? It looks all shiny now.
Jim went in and did the plenum. He did some work in the plenum, and then when he updated the ports on the heads, he had to raise them just a little bit. But he got a lot of the, we went from a 2100 intake valve to a 2150, which still isn't that big. So that'll be an improvement. Improved the seat ring on the flow, the intake port, a little bit on the exhaust, and then he did some work on the intake.
How much flow did the heads pick up from what he did
35, 38 CFM
on the intake or exhaust?
intake.
Huh.
Exhaust was, I think, 14 or 15.
I don't know a ton about that stuff.
Percentage,
But
it's
it seems
about-
like a lot.
About 10%. And there was more there, but you know, what we're trying to do here, we felt like would be good for this project.
Yeah.
Uh,
you go too much, then it's like kind of out of the spirit of what this intended to be.
Yeah.
So you do this pretty quickly.
Yeah, we try. The Ford lends itself to being a pretty user-friendly motor to work on, I think.
Is that just because you're a Ford guy?
Well, not just that. I think even Chevy guys that worked on these in the day, I'll tell you that it's a lot less complicated than the modern engines that we race now. You know, you have all these different fasteners in different locations. These are, everything's pretty much the same. When they went to the D3 head after this, it was, you know, very similar also.
So now knowing what you know about specs that you've measured and the heads that you've flowed and the cam specs that you know for sure, now that it's all here, what is your professional prediction of what this thing is going to do on the dyno?
Boy, I knew you were going to ask that question. Boy, if I over promise and under deliver, we hate that, don't we?
Give us your actual one, and then give us what you would give us if you were a customer and didn't want to hurt their feelings and overpromise and underdeliver. How about that? You get to pick two. What you really think, and then what you would actually tell somebody.
What I really think, I would if I had to promise, I'd save it 725. But what I think it's going to be 745.
745 is your authentic number.
Yeah.
No feelings attached.
That's right.
Okay.
There's a lot to think about there.
I'd also like to point out that we're having a conversation with you, and you're just running through these heads like you don't even have to think about the torque pattern. You
And I get on my guys for doing this, right? That this is not what you do, right?
you just know it.
How
many times have you done this?
Oh, a lot, and I'm capable of a lot of mistakes. Last night we were mocking this stuff up, so I thought I had everything. And these stands right here, I put the rockers that Nick Ramey we had found on it, and they were along a pivot length, and I had to go looking for stands. So we had to go through the archives because the stands that were on this were for a shorter pivot length rocker arm. Luckily we found them.
Maybe Lake will need to refresh his other engine after this.
That's right.
The one that's supposedly good.
Yeah.
Oh, does he have another one?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's another one that was just like this sitting around.
Why is this in the back of my truck right now?
Okay, so we've had so much fun with the first one.
Well, there's two engines and there's two cars. What is going to happen to this engine once it's running? What's the vintage on these rockers?
Oh, old. Not as old as the ones that were on it, or they looked a little bit longer in the tooth. Is it coming up?
That's what she said.
Oh my god.
What kind of lash does this cam run?
Oh, that's a really good question. 20,000 sock.
First time I ever did a cam swap in anything, I put a solid roller in my big block, not knowing what solid lifters even were when I ordered the parts. I just knew that that was what I needed because somebody told me that's what kind made the most power.
Okay.
And the guy on the phone, cam company I got the stuff from, said, yeah, your lashes would be about 18 thousandths or something, and that's about the thickness of a piece of paper. So when it came time to put the motor together, I said, well, he said the gap between the roller and the valves is about the thickness of a piece of paper. So I thought, I'll just put a piece of paper in there and tighten this down that way. So I used the cam card to set the lash, and I got the engine fired up, and this was like a huge cam. It didn't thump at all, and I was like, what is wrong with this thing? It doesn't sound like a bigger can than the one that came out of there. And I took the valve covers off, took the rockers off, and all my push rods looked like bananas.
Really?
Yeah, that was my introduction to working on engines.
That's how we learn, right?
Yeah.
That's how we learn.
Is there a specific level of force you're feeling for on that feeler gauge?
Yeah, often, that's good right there. Oftentimes, if you have 2 different feeler blades, you can go no-go. It's specific to each guy. You got to work in, like in here, the assembler and dyno guy have to be on the same page. I mean, you want it right, but you will have people that with a little different feel. And you don't want to have to force it. You want a little drag on it. That's good.
Interesting. So if you say you have like a go or no-go, if you're looking for 20, you would have a 20 and a
18 and a 21 or something, or 19 and a 21. One's going to have it drag tight, one's going to be a little bit looser. And you know you're kind of in that sweet spot. That's pretty good. I could just about this here pull out to the side without too much force.
On something like this, how often does the lash change enough that you have to change it, like go back and redo it?
Not a whole lot. You get a little bit if you get valve recession or something wears. You really don't want it to wear, but some cylinders tend to, as the heat goes in the engine, some may be a little bit different. They'll check it hot in there. They'll run it for 30 minutes or so, and then he'll check it hot after he times it and set it. And hopefully when I set it, mine's a pretty conservative 12. So I'm expecting he's going to say they're 18 to 20 in there. But
So you're setting it at 12 now?
Yeah.
To account for expansion?
that's correct. Yes.
Does the lash on an aluminum head grow more than an iron head?
Yes. An iron head is almost, depending on the rocker arm, it's pretty much cold and hot's pretty much the same. You have steel rockers and steel head, steel block. There's not much difference. And now, just to make sure we're good, we'll go through and we'll just check them. If you start out with all these loose, when they're all tight, when you're done, you know you didn't miss one.
Is that why you went through and loosened them all as you were putting them on?
Yes, yes. Try to idiot-proof it.
Yes. Try to teach you things here. What is that plug for right there?
That can be a drain back, and apparently it's not on this. See the oil there?
Mm-hmm.
It's not drilled through. It's plugged so that it just scavenges out of the valley.
So if you're running this as wet sump, you would want those
See
open.
how it's in the front?
Yeah.
It can drain back, and we did that then when we started scavenging up here. I say a lot of people, we still let oil run in the front. I mean, I don't know if it's because we didn't trust having everything blocked off. If something happened, it couldn't get back. That theory could be on who you talk to.
Yeah. It seems like it would make a good fail-safe, because if you're...
And I do remember at Darlington or Rockingham, and I think it was Penske, where they actually had a motor fill up with too much oil way back in the day. I always wondered if it was from a failure up here or something. There might be somebody that can answer that question. I'm sure there is.
Funny, there's all that intricate stuff going on inside there, and you put it on, it just looks like a big, ugly bathtub.
Yeah. Yes, it is.
Because this is a steel pan. You usually see aluminum pans.
Yeah, they are. I mean, NASCAR back in the day, we had to run a steel pan.
Was that a rule?
Oh yeah. It's still, until recently, you still have to have a steel shield on your... Most of the Cup teams have aluminum pans, and some don't now, but they made you have to have a steel shield on it.
Was that for containment reasons?
I don't think so. I think it was more of, that's how it always was.
Is there a particular brand of silicone you like to use?
This one right here.
Dowsil 732.
Okay, so we didn't have enough coil buying clearance on a few because this cam is so darn big. We're kind of going to make a little more clearance, and we'll cut another 5 thousandths off of this, and it should be good.
So you got a really specific number you're looking for once it's all put together.
That's right. You got to have just enough. You don't have too much. You don't have enough, everybody's in trouble. But you don't want to have too much either. But in our case, we didn't have enough. few details here. We'll be ready for you guys next go around on the dyno here.
Through the magic of editing, that'll be like right now.
She's warmed up, break-in runs are done, so let's see what she's got.
So what fuel is it running on right now?
Right now it's the E15.
E15?
The Sunoco E15, yes. Which is basically the current NASCAR race fuel.
The back in the day fuel was more potent than this stuff.
Probably so. So we've got, it's unleaded, so we got some leaded VP Q16. So we can lean on it a little harder like you did back in the day. Now for reference, Rusty's engine made 750, right?
753, I think it was, yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
And that was with the, you know, era correct stuff.
Sure. But we're not even done yet. This is just the baseline.
Let's see what Frankie can do here.
Said 761 on that last one.
Okay, so we already beat Rusty's.
Oh yeah. And we're not even, we're still with braking oil in there, so we haven't even put the good stuff in there yet.
Is standing here in a dyno cell, seeing one of these engines making noise, like giving you any?
Yeah, the biggest difference is I don't have to have headphones on to be in here. They got this thing quieted down so much that the what do you call it? The noise suppression is awesome in this cell. I've never been in a cell that's so quiet.
Huh. So in yours, you have to be operating it with headset on?
Oh God, yes.
Oh yeah, it was really loud. It was really loud. Give you a headache.
Yeah.
Horse didn't like that.
All the neighbors would call and say, "That sounded really good."
You making some more power this week?
You making more power this week.
Are you excited?
Yeah, it's cool to see.
This is it. This was his world.
Yeah, this is my world for a long time. Actually, I ran the dyno most of the time. So this is all different.
He had to pay all the bills, so he had to protect his investments.
I think what it was, I think John in particular he was nervous about something happening while he was running it. You run it.
See, I'm not afraid to push the pedal.
If it's going to make a mistake, he wanted me to do it, not him.
These are the spark plugs that were in the engine when we pulled it from Lake Speed's garage. These are the ones that he last raced with. If you want one, you can find out how to get one at the end of the video.
So you got brand new asphalt and rocket now. And they can set up with a road course in there too.
A little road course.
Yeah.
I would go to first on a VR where you let the thing do something. Down on a little big dinky track.
He wants to.
Might as well be out in the parking lot.
He wants to run it hard.
Yeah,
Apparently so, yeah.
Be honest, I think we're the last time I ran. Probably the right gear in the car and everything.
Okay. VIR it is then.
Do that.
Try to put all of the best minds together. You got to give it fuel and you got to give it air. I wasn't going to trust the out-of-the-box Holley A30 or that old ratty thing Dad had on there. Right. If we're going to try to make some horsepower, I got to call the guy that I know can make horsepower. One of the reasons that I wanted to call you and get this carburetor for my dad's engine is because...
So now we got the Bill Pink carburetor on there.
Yeah.
And we're going to run it how he put it together.
Yeah, we'll run it just the way he put it together. Then we can get the baseline on how it's flowing. Then we can make the adjustment, because one great thing is we've got O2 sensors in each bank. So that's going to be able to tell us the actual air-fuel ratio in each bank. Knowing that the VPQ16 needs a 13.3 air-fuel ratio, this will give Frankie the baseline to know what, if we need to make any jet changes when we put the Q16 in, where are we? So we know if I'm not sure what the air-fuel ratio for the E15 is. What's your target value for air-fuel with this?
80, that's my target.
Okay.
Landless.
All right, so you're looking at land. All right, so we'll be able to convert from that and say, okay, we know we're here with this fuel. Where are we? Where we need to go? Do we need to go richer or leaner? More than likely, it's going to be richer. It's going to probably have more oxygen in it than the E15, I think.
Yeah.
So I think the E15 is like 5 or 6% oxygen,
Correct.
and the Q16 is like 9% oxygen. So it's going to need a little bit more jet, more than likely. But this will give us a good baseline to know that before we make that move. We're going to make more power than 761 when we're all said and done today. Yeah.
I'm excited at the prospect of when this is put in a car that may be the most powerful race car that Lake Speed has ever driven at age 74, not having driven a stock car in 16, 18 years.
Right, and what does he want to do? He wants to go to VIR so he can open it up. He doesn't want to go to Rockingham and tool around. He wants to go out there and just go flat-footed.
You'll have to cut this out, but Lake's a badass.
You know, you put that in there. He's a total badass.
He is.
He's still fast in a go-kart. He still wants to get in a cup car and go fast.
He ain't scared.
He ain't scared.
Like, he doesn't want to go to Rockingham and drive in a parking lot. He wants to wheel the car.
Yeah, exactly.
I noticed they have these H-pipe ports are capped off. I wonder how that affects the power band if they were to connect that. I have to ask somebody else. Just me being an exhaust nerd, that's what I do. I wish you could jam an X-pipe on here so we could see that too. So I see on those exhaust pipes in there, you have a V-band cap over where an H-pipe would go. What does that do to the power band when you have that cap versus using an H-pipe?
The H-pipe helps. We don't have it in there. It just doesn't fit on some applications. So, and it's about repeatability in here. We just basically have our dyno headers and everything we need in there. So
you put the H-pipe in, it actually does pick up a little power?
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I have to tell you because I can't remember how much right now. We had so many different exhaust systems back in the day that we ran on these things. The big one was and everybody liked the sound was the X-pipe. Remember when it came along? And it did. It really sounded. It took the stock car to an Indy car.
The 4-car came to Daytona and kicked everybody's butt. That
first line is good.
Everybody had to have it.
Second line.
That's right. That's right.
The build pink carburetor is jetted up, and we'll see what the difference is over the typical dyno carburetor.
Yep.
Sweeps and then average them.
Yes. Get the best two and average them. The peak number
It's about the exact same.
is about the same. Right there is about 5 better. Then on the torque's better at 5,500. So that's a gain to me.
So it makes a good bit.
Yeah.
You get more torque gain than horsepower gain.
Correct.
But it's down low.
Correct.
So in a restart scenario or something, that's.
Yeah, that's definitely a game.
So now's the time for race gas.
Time for race gas, yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Put some leaded race gas in this thing now. We got VPQ 16 in here now, so we've taken a guess at the jets.
I saw 770. Gained 10 horsepower from the fuel swap.
It's good stuff.
All right, so how much oil do you have with the other stuff?
5 gallons.
The sound of that dyno water makes me want to have to go to the bathroom.
It's the break-in oil, so we can now know the health of the engine without having to take it apart. We know all the vital signs are looking good, but take this sample, send it off to the lab, we'll have the results back in 2 days. So today's Tuesday, we'll have the results by Thursday. I know how the health of the engine is.
Who analyzes the data?
I do.
Oh.
Right, so we send it to the lab, lab runs the test, they send it back to me. I'm an analyst, so I can know what's going on.
You do that for other people?
Yeah, we do. Yeah, so speed diagnostics, we do this for other race teams and other engine builders. So it'd be really fun to see going from the straight 30 break-in oil to the 0.16 race oil, that what changes happens in the engine. If we see anything increase in wear, we know that we maybe went too thin, but I don't think we're gonna go too thin. I think we're being pretty good.
Something tells me you've done this before and you know what to
Not
put in
my
there.
first rodeo. No.
So you do this all the time. What's your favorite kind of gas to smell?
Probably this right here, the dirt car stuff. And this right here is like the best. It's awesome.
What's your least favorite kind of smell?
A regular pump gas, when the dirt car guys come in with pump gas, that's the worst. Regular pump gas.
JGR 0W16.
Is that classified information?
No, it's not. That's why I know the formula. No one else really does. So.
The topic of motor oil is like total taboo because somebody's always got a story like, my uncle's pappy's brother put this in his lawnmower and it blew up 45 years ago. It's garbage. And for that reason, they think something is good or bad. Well, we're going to tell you what actually matters when you're looking for something on the shelf. So there's a thing called API, American Petroleum Institute. They test everything on the shelf and assign it a rating. Right now, the highest service level rating is API SP. This level was just released in May of 2020. So you can look at this jug right here. You see it's API Service SP. If you go into a parts store and you see that on the bottle, it passed all of those tests to be the top service level. So I don't want to hear it if you've got a specific brand that your uncle's pappy's brother's son-in-law says made sludge or whatever. It's not true. So if you see API SP on there, you know what you're putting into your engine is good stuff. In our personal gasoline powered vehicles, we use Pennzoil Platinum, which is API SP certified. You see it right there. You also got this little thing on the front. You can take it off the shelf and then look at the back to see which certification it is. So now that you know the brand that you put in your engine is not going to make it blow up, you might as well use one that supports things you like. Next time you're due for an oil change, grab a bottle of Pennzoil Platinum and you can feel good knowing you're putting good stuff in your engine, and at the same time, you're supporting the documentation and preservation of racing history, which is what we do here. In your expert opinion, what do you think these pulls are going to be different over the other one?
This oil should be 4 horsepower better, just on the oil. Now we also made a jet change too, so I don't know. We'll see. This is the low friction engine, so it won't be as much like you get a really high friction engine that has big rings and a flat tappet cam and all that. The oil can make a bigger difference. With this, a little bit lower viscosity from a 30 to a 16, going from no friction modifiers to a lot of friction modifiers, from conventional to synthetic.
What temperature are you looking for in the oil before you make a
I
run?
just want to try to come up a little bit. It's only 140 out of the motor right now, so if I get 160,
Yeah.
I'm
It's
happy.
playing chicken with fuel.
So it's kind of like a qualifying run where the guy didn't hook up the generator right. And they're telling him, and you're upset. But you got to do what you got to do.
Listen, I was a big proponent of it. You don't have to get the oil crazy hot, because all it's going to do is put heat in the water. So it runs for the friction modifiers to kick in. As the oil temperature comes up, the chemistry starts kicking in more too. So it should get better with every run.
Interesting.
It's at 180 picked up, so you got to be 180 at least.
Yeah.
Here's the hero run.
This is it.
This is the number that everybody will know.
The one.
Hopefully.
Should be the best one.
You got a lot going on over here.
I know.
Pretty busy guy.
This stuff, in fact, we were running 280 degree oil temperatures.
Yeah.
So we made it to run really hot. Hang in there. That's it. That's the last one. The fuel pressure finally to really drop there. So it's like, okay. That was 777.
I was trying to get one more.
From 761 from the time we got here to 779 by changing the carburetor, the oil,
Jets.
and the fuel,
Yep.
and being tuned properly.
So that's 300 horsepower more than the last time this engine was in the dyno here.
Just a little bit.
300. Not a bad little tune-up rebuild there. Really.
Awesome.
I'm terrible at math. What up from the 2002 number?
So 690 was the real number. So that's almost 90 more. Right, that's almost 780. From a 690 to a 780, it's almost 90 better. I'll take that.
Oh yeah.
We got almost 90 horsepower more from taking what was cutting edge technology
At the time.
to just keeping it up with the times.
Yeah, just modernizing it. And that's not even, I mean, a 0.7 millimeter top ring isn't even the thinnest stuff that's out there now in Cup. So that's not even at the cutting edge. That's just normal stuff. I mean, Billy did the cam. Obviously, that's a really great cam, but yeah, there's nothing here that's exotic. That's
Nothing somebody couldn't get themselves.
no, all these parts you can buy. There's nothing in this engine that's
How much horsepower did you pick up? 400?
so 300 from where it was this summer.
Okay.
90 from where it was built in 2002. I'll take that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Like I always said, if I'd known just last year what I know this year, I'd have won all the races last year.
It only costs $90 a horsepower, see? Pick it up, that's all. It's not that.
Well, you got to know what to do with it, though.
That's right.
I don't know what to do with it.
So now we got your motor that's all freshened up for you. We can go put in a race car.
All right. This will be fun.
And you can find out what 780 horsepower feels like in that car from
I know what it
1993.
looked like. So I'd like to feel it. That'll be good. Yeah. The technology that's here is amazing because without it, you're just guessing at what you do in there. Now you have the technology to go in there and make it better. And you can measure it and know whether a little bit of this is a little better. It's not the seat of the pants or just experience.
All right.
You know. Technology's changed racing big time.
These are spark plugs from Lake Speed's engine.
According to him, Lake raced Daytona with these spark plugs, and you can have one. If you would like to have a race-used Lake Speed spark plug, if you order a shirt and a hoodie, any shirt, any hoodie from staplesandautoworks.com, the first 8 people to do that will get a spark plug with a card.
Yes, I have some Lake Speed trading cards.
We like to include extra things because we like extra things, and we thought you might like them too. Boom. Staplesandautoworks.com. Check it out.
And we have this Trophy Hunter shirt.
That is the shirt that I'm wearing right now. We have that in shirt and hoodie format. So you can be cold or warm and be covered either way. It looks like a contingency decal from the 90s.
Yes.
Which we also have decal form. They come in a 5-pack. They're $9. You get all 5 of these. And you can stick them on whatever you want. They won't fall off. And you got the matching hat with the Boom Tube Wing Eagle on it. Oh wait, that's the wrong hat for that hoodie. Boom. Richardson 112 snapback. Fits almost every head, unless it doesn't. Perfect.
Perfect fit. Do you want to make cool noises?
We do. We like X-pipes from the early 2000s, so we put them on a shirt because we like cool noises. This is the back. The front also has a boom tube on it with our standard logo.
I pack all of your orders here in the shop. We both have our little office desks up front, and I pack all of your orders and write a handwritten thank you note signed by both of us, and I usually mail them out like the next day.
If you're still watching this, you're a real G. You're the best. You are why we are able to do this. I can't thank you enough. And I want to hear from you. I tried something new with this video. I tried to do more jump cuts, keep it quick for the entire video as an experiment for audience retention. And if people aren't gonna watch the whole video, they're already gone. If you're still watching me right now, I know you've been around for a long time, or if you're new, you're gonna be around for a long time because you vibe with us. I wanna know, what did you think? Did you like that different perspective? Did you like the more raw way we typically do things? Let me know. Also, you can participate in more dialogue conversation with us if you're signed up as a channel member. It's like $4 a month or something, and we post status updates for members only, where you can comment. And then, you know, I think there's only 100 members, so if you comment, you will get an answer. And yes, this is a thingy, a narwhal. It's mopping the shop floor, and it's freaking awesome. Shelby hates it.